Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian report for the 18th of September. I want to start with two sectors, the XMJ, which we're looking at, and the XXJ, which is the banking sector. Now, this particular one here, the XMJ here, as you can see here from the top, we can see a very clear 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down for 5 here, and in the fifth wave here I can also see 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 quite clearly here. So what I'd been waiting for was an ABC correction to take us back to this level here, the 61.8%. So we're not quite there just yet, but also too with this particular rally here, we were looking for, because we've got 5 waves here, we should get an ABC back to the 61.8% and then down again from that point. So in the move up here, we were looking for 5 waves. So I can see in the first instance here, we've got 5 waves here and then a pullback here, and then I'm looking for another little 5 waves here. I don't have this on the intraday, so I've got to get into the guessing game of the count here, but normally what we would see would be that this length here roughly would be the same length over here. So I was kind of looking a little bit higher at the 13.8 here for this, and then rolling over from that point, so an A and a B and a C wave here. So that's pretty sort of clear to me. We would only be wrong with this if the 61.8% became the support at that point. Now, this particular move down through here, we're seeing this in the XJO as well. So not as clear, it's more like 1 and 2 in here and 3 and 4 and 5 here for this move here. So I was also looking for this here to follow up with the XMJ here to the 61.8% mark, where it is now at 67 here. But it looks like it wants to go higher, and that's kind of okay. But it does raise a sort of a flag, and then do we count this down here as 5 waves, or do we count it down as an A and a B and a C wave here? So I need to look at counts in both those. I need to look at a count where we fail here, which I have been doing, and also look for a count that can continue to the upside here. So we'll be looking at that. Also with the XJO here, the XXJ, the banking sector. So this XJO here, most of the time it follows the banking sector, but you've got the banking sector pulling on it one way, and you've got the resource sector, the XMJ, pulling on it the other way, because those two sectors can be going in the opposite direction. When they're going in the same direction, then we see the ASX really push off in a direction either up or down very quickly, and that's what we like to catch. When we look at the XXJ though, you'll see that it's moved up much higher here, and it's still got that nice 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 down through to here. And I had the right perspective when I looked at it as an A and a B, as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. It just looked naturally right, because the third wave was the longest and the strongest. But in this case here, we can see that the market's moving up higher here. We can see that this is a consolidation here, so we're going to be going higher here still. So it leads me to believe, well, I have to count this here as an impulse wave. So we need to look at the banks in a positive light that will continue to make new highs, and we need to count this here as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and a third wave up here and a fourth wave, and so pretty much still climbing to the upside here. And there's other markets around the world that have got this particular pattern here as well. So yeah, look, that's what we're up against here. So if the banking sector is going to make a new high here, up here somewhere, how far up will the XJO go? So this here can, likely go up to 6.8 or something, and still be 5 waves down through to this point here, and we'll need to count this as corrective up to this point. So we need to basically trade what we see at this point, and what I'm seeing at this point here is this market's got support here. So support in, when I look at what are the important levels in this space here, well, the 6,500 is important. The next level up is the 8. So basically it's 1, 2, 3, 5 and 8, the Fibonacci numbers. So 5 here, and the next number up here is 8. And then I always draw the halfway mark here. So I'm looking at this number here, 6650 here, and I come across here where this is through here. It's an important level, and I'll talk about it a lot. It was resistance here, and now it's migrated over to support here, and which is a pretty big effort really, considering, you know, a reflection over this side over here as being, you know, a supply zone over here. So it's got support here, so we need to be looking higher now for this market. So with that in mind, this is the count that we've had here in terms of, well, our target was up to this point here, and we'd been counting this down as 5 waves, so we're looking for this as an A wave, a B wave, and looking up for a C wave here, either on this top or this top here, but we've clearly moved through that now. And this is the level that we're talking about, the 6650 here, and it was resistance, and now it is support. So that creates long trade, and you should be triggered in long now because we had a long trade there, but we'll get into that in a moment. And when I've been counting this count here, up here for the A wave or wave 1 here, and an A and a B and a C back here, that's not a problem. We always understood that. This was messy in here, but we did our best to resolve it. And then I was looking at this here as wave 3 and then wave 5 coming in. There was a couple of ways to look at this here on this high here or even this high here. But either way, we've made new highs here, so I've made an error. So I was looking at it in that, well, if wave 1 is the longest here, then wave 3 became shorter than wave 1 here, then wave 5 needs to be shorter than wave 3. So this little stick here that I've got brings us up to this height up here at 65 roughly, and that would be wave 3 here and wave 5 here being the same length at that point. But the other way to look at this too is that when this length here and it's diminishing into these points here, each one's getting shorter. That's the way I was looking at it. But I also mentioned too that it's either that's the story, or the other story is that these are a series of 1s and 2s, 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s, and then we're going to be sort of moving stronger through these areas through here. So a much bigger trend to unfold. So now that we have support on this 6650 here, we do need to play it to the upside. The other count here, which I have also pointed out a while back, is this one here, where we have from the low here, we look at this here as an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here, rather than 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So in that case, we can look at it like this here, where we see that, I haven't got it all laid out, but we can see that here would be looking for a much bigger trend here. So we've got wave 1 and 2 here, so then we'll have 1 and 2 here, and all the way up for 3 here, then there'll be 4, and then there'll be 5 here, and that will make wave 3 up here. So we can copy that here and put wave 3 up here, which would make a much longer trend to the upside, which would suit the banking sector for sure. So yeah, at the moment with this, basically, you know, when I look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, then this point right in here is the center of the whole trend. So that we've got this half, and then we'll have this half here. So we're pretty much right in the center of all of that. So I'd expect the market to hop along here and move along quite quickly here up until the 6,800 here. So yeah, in this case here, we'd be looking at it like this here. I'm still not sure about all of this just here, but even when I look at this here, I can see we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then we're moving up for wave 3, 4, and 5 here. So we're definitely going to be moving higher from here. And this is a really good trade setup. This is a classic trading level setup where we have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, an A and a B and a C here, then up for 1, 2, and so on, moving up here. So that plays out quite nicely with that. On the 1 hour chart, I haven't updated the counts, but yesterday we were looking for two situations. We were either looking for this 6650 to become the resistance, to come further down here, a move down and back up and down, and then we would look to go short here. But otherwise we'd go long above this point here, and we also talked about having support within group 2. So group 2 here being the 65, 72 and 80 in here, the subgroup 2 area in here. So yeah, look, that's where we are here at the moment for this. So what we can do here is start working the stop to the upside. So I don't want to put it there, so we can put it at break even here. That will be fine here at that point. And then we should see this move up. So it's likely for this to move up here and then come back and even test this and then move up from that point there as well. So, and I'm not sure about all of this as well here. So, I mean, because when I counted this here, it was 5 waves down. So I really should be looking at this, putting a B wave here and a C wave here, but I don't get 5 waves down here either. But it has made a new low below this one. So it's probably the best fit for this. So then that would bring this here as wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and then we're in the 3rd wave going up through here somewhere. And then within that, we would have wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and this little sideways movement here would be 3 and 4 in here, and then we'll go up for wave 5 here, probably a bit higher up there. We'll just move these. It's not going to come back below that now. It may come back and touch on that. It may come back and test that support there before moving higher here. So we are in a nice trend up here at the moment. And yeah, I mean, the other target that I had up here was, you know, within this space here. So this is where it also could end here as well. But let's just trade up, and I'll keep an eye on this. So in a nutshell, stay long on this. Let's have a look at Hong Kong. I just want to have a look at China first. Where's China? China A50 here. So I was looking at this move through here a little while ago, and I just don't think it's finished here. So it's a little bit to read all of this in here, but I can see this is part of a 3rd wave here and a 4th wave here, and so we still got further to go up in China here. So that's why I've also changed the count here, or gone to our alternative count for Hong Kong here. So on the 4-hour chart, well, basically, if I just go back a tad here to the daily chart, one of the problems that I had here is that that was looking down for wave 1 here, and then wave 2 here, and down for wave 3. Wave 3 didn't really drop further, where it should have been. I mean, it's longer than wave 1, which is fine, but we can't call this wave 4 here. So we can't go 1, 2, 3, 4 here, because wave 4 overlaps wave 1 here. What we could do though is we could look at this as wave 1 down here, and then wave 2 at this point here, and then look at this as an A and a B and a C wave up to this point here, and then we come further down from this point. But what I would need to see here is I would need to see a very clear 5-wave structure down through here, and then once we've got that 5-wave structure, then we would see an ABC back up, and then we can look to short from that point there. But so far down here, I've only got 3 waves down here, and I can see that China's bullish, so I figure this market's going to continue to move up. It is reacting from the 61.8%, but I think this is a little wave 4 here. So we'll just go in here for a second. So I'm sort of looking at it a little bit like this here, moving to the upside here, because I've only got 3 waves down here so far. So I guess if we do see 5 waves down here, if this is the case, 5 waves down here, then we'll just wait for the little ABC pattern here, and then we can look to short through here. But I need to see that 5 waves. I don't see that 5 waves in here just yet. So on the hourly chart here for Hong Kong, I was looking at it like this here. You could take, so I see this as 5 waves down here, a B wave, and then another 5 waves down here. This has moved a little bit too far up for wave 4 here, but I do expect it to fold back. So obviously you probably don't have a position in there, so it's not right to put that there, but we'll look at this here. So what I might do is just go to the tick chart here for this. I'll just have to bring in a bit more data. Just have a look. Okay. So from the top here, I can see we've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here for either wave 1 or wave A here. And then we've got wave B coming all the way across here. And then for wave B down to wave C, we're looking for 5 waves. So we looked at 1 and 2 here. And then the third wave is 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right. Sorry. Yep, that's right. Sorry. Yep, that's right. Sorry. 4. And then 1 and 2 here. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third here, ABC for the fourth, and down for the fifth here. So at this stage, I've only got 3 waves down. That's why I'm thinking that we could go long here. So when I count this up here, there's probably a couple of ways to count this, but if I just counted 5 waves, I would go 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, the fourth wave here, and then the fifth wave here, which can actually go up a little bit further by the looks of it, because this would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 in here. So I can't draw here, but that can go up there a little bit further. So what you could do is you could wait for a pull. There's another way to count this too. We could count this like I've counted at 5 waves up here. It's got a little bit more to go here, and then I'd expect it to pull back here. So pull back into maybe the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. Somewhere in this range here, it would likely pull back into this range, and I thought that's where we could pick it up from. Yeah, I mean, because it could be counting differently in terms of wave 1 and 2 here, and then wave 1 and 2 here, and then going into a stronger third wave and keep going up. So the pullback might be quite shallow. So I'll just leave that sort of with you a bit there to sort of ponder over what you should do. Maybe just allow this little move up here to finish, and then just allow it to rest and pull back, and then just perhaps use your if you can't see a corrective count in 3 waves, well then just use something like the stochastics or something. Stochastics are pretty sharp when it comes to this. Maybe something on the 15-minute chart or 5-minute chart or something of that nature. Let's have a little look at India. So with India here, we'd been looking at this in terms of a corrective move across here. Let me just get in a bit more data here just to... So wave 3 here, and we're getting quite a long, drawn out sort of triangle play in all of this here. So something like that anyway. But an ABC for the A wave, the B wave, the C wave, the D wave, and then the E wave here. I had problems in here, and then we actually kind of got an extra high here. I don't even know if it made a new high, but what we were going to do is that if it made a little new high here, then we'd draw a line across the top there, and then if it came down, we'd go along from that point. So that wasn't the case. I just didn't want to miss out. So that was our insurance there. So that's cool. That didn't trigger. It didn't. It's not cool. It doesn't matter either way. So so this here, looking at this now, if I can just borrow borrowing one of these here, just counting. So it looks like we've got wave 1 down through here and wave 3 here. Wave 4 doesn't really want to, it's gone a little bit too high here for this. Maybe there's a deeper pullback there. Either way, we can bring that down. If we get support on 11,000, just for insurance purposes, we need to be long at that point, and that would require the classic trading levels pattern of the arrival, the reaction in 3, first high above the level, and then a corrective move, and then up from that point. So that would be of that nature. But as it goes from wave 4 here, down to wave 5 here, we should see 5 waves down, coming down into this space here. So I just really want to allow that to play out. I mean, if we can figure out 5 waves coming down here, then we can look to buy at this, on these lows here. But we're sort of in the rock and a hard place at the moment. So, I mean, there is a short trade set up within all of this space here. Perhaps you got that based on the 11,000, but I didn't call that out. But let's just see how this rallies here. Let's just see if we get 5 waves here. It will be a little bit frustrating if we only get the 3 waves down here. Then that makes it, if we only get 3 waves down here and then we get support here, then that makes all of this bullish at that point. So I just really need to allow that to play out here. So if anybody's got any counts on this little leg here that spent some time on it and pulled it apart, please send it over to me. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in and thanks for the support.
Report unless it's done.
Really?
Just holding up some plates.